I wanted to tell you a story of historical significance. And the story is about one of the first Muslim migrations to ever happen during the times of Prophet Muhammad. What happened was there was a group of 80 Muslim migrants who ended up leaving Mecca after they had invaded Mecca and forced the people there to convert to Islam and submiss. They decided, this group of 80 people, led by one of the Sahaba, which are the close friends of the Prophet. His name was, one of the cousins of the Sahaba. His name was Ja'far ibn Abi Talib. He took this group of 80 Muslim migrants and they sought refuge in a place called Habasha. Habasha is in Ethiopia. Ethiopia, I want you to look up and tell me how civilized is this country today and what it has to offer us so we can follow in the footsteps of it historically. So King Najashi ruled in Habasha, and he was a Christian king. The group of 80 Muslim migrants led by Ja'far went and presented themselves as being persecuted. Because at the same time that they presented themselves to King Najashi, another group presented themselves to him from Mecca, which these guys escaped from, because they wanted to take these Muslims back to Mecca and persecute them for what they had done to them. So the Muslims said to King Najashi that they are here for refuge, seeking refuge from these people who want to harm them. These people who have no God and who behave like animals. And that these people hate the Muslims because the Muslims have found the true God and have improved their way of life and no longer live like animals, like these guys. So King Najashi was these guys that were here to get the Muslims had gifts for the king. And the story goes that they wanted to bribe the king in order for him to surrender the Muslims to them. But he eventually said no and sent these guys back home packing. So how did the Muslims convince the king, the Christian king, to convert to Islam and submiss his entire country and people to this ideology? They recited the chapter from the Quran, Maryam, about the Virgin Mary and the birth of Jesus. They recited Maryam from verse 19 to verse 32. And apparently King Najashi accepted this as fact, as that Islam is the true religion and that Muhammad is the true prophet, because they know this history about the Virgin Mary. Now, so Islam came after Christianity, like a long time after Christianity, and everything that happened with Jesus was known already. So I'm not sure I understand how the King Najashi reading, the Quran, the story about Maryam and Jesus, that was enough to convince him to submiss, but that's how the story goes. The reason I'm telling you this story is because in the description I'm going to link a video of an imam recently videoed in a mosque in Canada. When I saw this on Twitter yesterday, it took me back to a very dark time in my life. It took me back to when I was a little girl in the madrasa, being brainwashed, and being taught about the Islamic conquests, which are, by today's standards, nothing but acts of terrorism and invasion, and murder. But for Muslims, they see them as great things, historical events to be proud of. The Imam was talking to a group of people, and I don't know how many people he was talking to, nor do I know who the people he was talking to are, but he was praising Justin Trudeau as a god. He was praising Justin Trudeau as the modern day embodiment of King Najashi, who stood by the Muslim migrants over his people and spread Islam in what was a Christian nation. This Imam preached non-stop about Justin Trudeau, and this scared the life out of me, and is the reason I'm making this video, because I no longer understand what's going on in Canada, and I don't know how to make people understand what I think is going on in Canada, because I come from this culture and I come from this religion. You guys are being invaded. This is an Islamic conquest, what is happening. It is government assisted and government guided. And Justin Trudeau is the hand that is bringing in this ideology. And it's not just Islam. You're getting a nasty version of Islam. And you are being submissed to accept it. This is what motions like M103 and words like Islamophobia are. Now, considering I come from a culture that is essentially 1400 years behind you guys, I understand that you will not accept what I'm saying as fact. But I urge you to research and look at the videos and the links I'm going to post. We're in trouble in Canada, and I hope my message travels far and wide, because Islam will not stop until it takes what it wants. And it doesn't usually do it in a pretty way. For everyone who has been donating, my sincerest thank yous. Take care, guys.